This is Investment Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Daily live streaming interactive featuring Mrs. Backup. Subscribe, hit the notification, smash the likes. Now, here's Backup Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to Investment Perspectives, guys. I wanted to put this video together for you. We are going to talk about the greatest financial paradigm shift in the history of mankind. And I think we're going to look at some information that lays it out quite nicely that we are really in a historical moment. Okay, and before we do, I wanted to touch on this because you guys have heard me talk about the company I Trust Capital. And this is amazing because I'm not going to read this whole article, but I just wanted to highlight to you that, you know, we are in a time of decentralization, and this is a really great article by entrepreneur.com, and it's about 5 decentralization trends to watch for in 2020. And what I love about this is that if you go through this, it talks about, and like I said, I'm not going to read it, but it goes through the different areas: privacy, security, decentralized cloud storage, marketing and advertising using smart contracts and oracles, technology, software, decentralization, reform, financial services. And it goes through this, and it really talks about the things I've mentioned here, which is, you know, through the impact of the pandemic, global markets have tumbled and wiped out billions of dollars from both retail and institutional investors. While conventional investment wisdom relies on playing the long game with market cycles, more and more retail investors have expressed interest in gaining more control over their portfolios. This is what I love about it. Robo-advisors have gained massive popularity due to the DIY flexibility, but many still lack the ability to invest in emerging asset classes like digital assets. As decentralization trends in the market grow, expect to see more innovation. For example, I Trust Capital allows people to invest in gold digital assets into a compliant, tax-advantaged, low-cost IRA for the first time. Investors can get exposure to the new asset class in a traditional retirement account. And that's what I've been talking about here, is that this is a great company with even greater people. I encourage you guys to contact Blake Skadron, talk to the company, check out their custody solutions, vet them. You will find they're a very, very, very good company with great people. And I just wanted to show that to people because I know how decimated. Look, I'm one of them. I've been decimated by what's happened with the pandemic and lost an enormous amount of my work. And my heart goes out to everybody else who has. And there's no need for us to be negative about it. We got to look and try to find that silver lining if you've lost your job and you need to do something with your investment, or you just want to rethink about how you can take personal control of your investment. So there we go with that. Now on to what we're going to talk about today. We are going to lay this out, and I think you guys are going to love this. So we've had some motion go on with Judy Shelton. So let's look at the narrative. So Donald Trump's China nightmare about the U.S. Not being in the lead of the digital asset race, in the central bank digital currency race. And China is really pushing this already, working within their country with American companies like Starbucks and McDonald's. That's about to start. And their employees are going to get a portion of the central bank digital currency given to them for transportation. So that is already putting a leading edge for China and a real push for the U.S. and other countries to get in this space. Okay, so now we know that that narrative exists right there. Let's keep building. So here it is. This is Judy Shelton right here, courtesy of Mark Phillips on this one today, and Masters 250K. So thank you guys for this. We're going to play this highlight here. Listen.
You did have that stability, and I think that's what's missing. And so I like the idea of a gold standard. I mean, it could be used in a very cryptocurrency way. The point is, do you have a unified money system so that when you talk about the international marketplace, everyone is playing on a level monetary playing field? And it's very important to have a rules-based approach. And that's why I'm advocating that we need to look at the virtues of a gold standard and try to come up with something much closer to matching those. And then I think we would have more solid economic.
Well, that is a mouthful in 38 seconds. First of all, she talks about a gold standard in a cryptocurrency sort of way or type of way. And then she references the level playing field, level monetary playing field. Okay. Well, we're going to build on that today and not just this clip. So now we know that as of yesterday, article came out from thehill.com, exclusive Senate Banking Committee to take action on embattled Fed nominee Judy Shelton next week. And then it goes in here to tell us that she is expected to pass the panel along with Christopher Waller and another Fed nominee, whose nomination has run into the Senate GOP opposition because of her unorthodox views, has been held up for weeks because of skepticism from a couple different senators. It looks as if that she will get passed this coming week. This gets exciting knowing what her views are. Now, understand that there are 12 chairmen on the Federal Reserve, right? So it doesn't mean that she'll go in and she'll have reign of the whole thing. We'll have to see exactly what her actual position as chairman is and what she's able to do in effect while she's there. However, it is nice to know that someone with this mindset is moving into a very, very powerful place of putting her theories and her opinions forth to be discussed and implemented quite potentially. Now, here's another support of this whole idea of a level monetary playing field and a gold standard. Listen to this. Donald Trump.
Bringing back the gold standard would be very hard to do, but boy, would it be wonderful. We'd have a standard on which to base our money.
Would returning to a gold standard help the U.S. economy? Can you talk a little about your thoughts on that?
Well, I would say I don't see it so much as returning, but more of a back to the future.
Okay.
I think that what a gold standard stands for is monetary discipline for its own sake. That is, if money is supposed to be a unit of account and a reliable measure and a dependable store of value, it really shouldn't be subject to who's the chairman of the Federal Reserve. And I think that money needs to be stable and provide the foundation for productive economic growth. And when money is just a variable that financial markets toss around, or it's part of a derivatives formula, or it's part of someone speculating on currencies, it's not serving the private sector in the sense of providing that reliable unit of account so you can make plans. And under a gold standard, you did have that stability, and I think that's what's missing. And so I like the idea of a gold standard. I mean, it could be used in a very cryptocurrency way.
So there is the longer clip, and I wanted to give that because it was attached to Donald Trump in the front, talking about loving the gold standard. And that's the point, is that, first of all, it's his nominee, right? And he loves the idea of a gold standard. Well, I'll tell you who doesn't, is the Fed. Because if they're on a gold standard, they can't continue to do the harmful things that they've been doing to themselves and the dollar all these decades. So let's keep this moving because this gets quite interesting. Now let's take a step to this document that I shared yesterday, courtesy of some conversations and a find from Big Skinny. The Financial Stability Board addressing the regulatory, supervisory, and oversight challenges raised by global stablecoin arrangements. Yes, that's right. And this came out just 2 weeks ago, April 14th. There is going to be a global stablecoin. This is very, very interesting stuff, ladies and gentlemen, knowing what we've just set up and what we've just looked at. And we're going to look at some more information too, so don't go anywhere because the plot thickens. Going through this is coming, the Financial Stability Board regulatory body attached to the G20. Okay? Now, just going through this, I'm not going to go through this entire document. It is packed with information. Okay? But let me just say to you this. First of all, the FSB invites comments on the consultative document by July 15, 2020, and will issue a final report in October 2020. So we know that these are points that we need to pay attention to, right? Okay. Now I'm going to scan through this, and I'm going to go to these different definitions here. One, we all know that there's such a thing as an algorithm-based stablecoin. asset-backed stable coins. We know that there's a definition for crypto asset, and they exist in the world. We know that there's digital assets that exist in the world. Stable coins exist in the world, right? What we do not know, I can tell you is I've never heard global stable coin used or those two words put together before this document, period. But there's a definition for it, and it's a stable coin with a potential reach and adoption across multiple jurisdictions and the potential to achieve substantial volume. Really? Listen, I don't know about you, but when you go through this document, and I will make this available to you in the comment sections under this video, there's an enormous amount of information in this document. And it basically appears to me from this document that there isn't but one coin that could satisfy those requirements in here, and it would be XRP. And I might say the ability to create a stable coin off of XRP. A stable coin with a potential reach and adoption across multiple jurisdictions and the potential to achieve substantial volume. Now, we know that right before swell happened in November, late October, early November, David Schwartz had came out with a video talking about how you could now create stable coins off of the ledger and even off of XRP or any other asset of value that was placed on the ledger. This is quite interesting. Let's move on. This is from the World Economic Forum, a framework for blockchain interoperability. It is noted in the document and in this figure description that everything you are seeing here is already established its ability to provide interoperability. Anything that is not shown has not yet proved itself to be interoperable solution. This also has Interledger, Hyperledger Quill, R3 Quarter Settler, as others, but these are the things that I'm covering today to show and remind you. And this is about supply chains and being able to settle payment instantly, smart contracts, you know the drill. Another example of the supply chain and how decentralized apps can be used to speed up that process. It shows here individual networks can become a part of a larger ecosystem without any problem at all because of interoperability with blockchain applications. Now, coming up here to the top of the document, just to show you, April this month, blockchain for supply chains. This is interesting because the FSB just released, this is regulatory body FSB from the G20, a document on global stablecoin and how it would be regulated, supervised, and everything else. Combine that with the World Economic Forum document about how they'd use blockchain interoperability to help supply chains understand that there's a macro impact of this called the velocity of money. Might that velocity of money be helped by the use of XRP and potentially a stablecoin developed off of it? We already know from the World Economic Forum that they intend in this framework for the central banks to build their central bank digital currencies based on this outline. Knowing that crypto assets designed for inter or intrabank payments and settlement would be JPM coin and XRP. We also know that the FATF deadline for international regulations, by the way, another regulatory body attached to the G20. Deadline for review of all the exchanges to be KYC, AML, CFT, and travel rule compliant by June of this year. And really just a month and a half, really. Too much, you could say, I guess. This gets quite interesting. Now, I covered this a few weeks ago about the Treasury Dollar Act of 2020 and about how this bill, if it were to be implemented, would convert the Department of Treasury's existing Treasury Direct system of universally available transaction accounts in Treasury securities into a publicly administered digital savings payments platform. And they would literally create a dollar from the Treasury. It would be the same dollar as the Federal Reserve, only created by the Treasury. It says down here, Treasury is instructed to issue a new class of zero coupon perpetual Treasury bill, the Treasury Dollar Bill or Treasury Dollar, valued at precisely one Federal Reserve note, aka dollar bill, per Treasury Dollar. The Treasury Dollar is deemed legal tender sufficient to discharge all obligations, public and private, on par with Federal Reserve notes. It is, in effect, identical to the Federal Reserve note, again, the current dollar bill, in respect of all attributes save its issuer. We know also that the Federal Reserve is insolvent at this point. Now, people say, insolvent? They can print money as long as they want. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Because this right here is the U.S. unfunded liabilities. We are at 147,238 billion plus in unfunded liabilities. The total U.S. national assets are 144,482 billion plus. We are underwater with the Fed. That moment has come. Now, this won't stop the Fed from pressing on. As you can see, it's exactly what's happening right now. They are going to blow and have blown past the number of insolvency, and they are continuing to do so as if there's no repercussions whatsoever. But what I can tell you is that if we look at the fact that Judy Shelton is probably going to get nominated and cleared this coming week or next week, and we look at the fact that they could potentially, if they want to, introduce a Treasury dollar bill in a transitional period while they deal with the debt of the Fed and sort out the problem as we move to a gold-backed system that could be done in a cryptocurrency sort of way. I would see possibly a neutral reference point like XRP placed in the middle of all the currencies, a stable coin potentially issued off of that, which might be called a global stable coin. One thing I do know is that this is a historical moment that we are living in. And I do believe this is the greatest financial paradigm shift in the history of mankind, and it cannot be overstated. All right, guys, I just wanted to lay that stuff out, give everybody a chance to see it laid out in that manner. I'd love to hear your comments. If you like the information, you like the video, please hit the like and subscribe. One more final thought here. David Schwartz has been suspended. His YouTube channel has gotten suspended. Now, I do want to show this because it's covered, and I saw it early this morning. I just want to say this. Ripple has recently put out a lawsuit against YouTube, which is owned by Google, which is an early seed investor in Ripple, ironically enough, because of the scammers that have been on YouTube. Now, I don't like the scammers, and I hope they get them gone. But what I'm concerned about is if they use too broad a brush and wipe us out, YouTubers out, XRP YouTubers, as well as somebody like David Schwartz, who is actually the co-creator of the XRP ledger. If we are to get suspended, just know that we do have a safe haven in the Patreon group, ladies and gentlemen. We already do 2 live streams a month, and if we were to be taken down for any reason, we will start putting all of our content there for each one of you. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Head on a swivel. This is crypto. and you just never know. All right, if you like the content, please share it with somebody, and we will see you today at 12 p.m. Eastern Time right here on Investment Perspectives.